My winter tweets are a favorite. There's the cling rubber stamp set with a stencil that I'll show you later, and then the cutting dies as well. And an interesting packaging tip from Dorothy: if you choose to cut off across the top, you've got an easy way to slide things out and to still be able to put them back in the package so that you don't lose any of the pieces. And I've done the same with my stamps. So let me show you now how versatile these are. You have a cardinal, but it's just a beautifully crested bird. So if you didn't want a cardinal and wanted to do some other kind of crested bird, you can make them be all sorts of interesting little birds. And this one can be a chickadee, or you can make it in other colors and be all sorts of different birds. And then of course there's the robin with all of its beautiful red breast. So you can make lots of birds with these, and of course they're not limited to winter, but we called them that for this release. And now I want to show you some ways to use the stencil to create the branches. So here's my stencil. It's been well used already, and by not cleaning it off, it's easier to find. And in some cases I don't want the leaves, so I put tape over them, and I've left those on. And you've got lots of options. You have it going this direction, and of course you can also flip it over, but then you'd probably have to clean the other side. So I worked with it one direction and created so many different looks with it. So if you want to take your pen and trace around the stencil, you can do that. If instead you want to use your inks and your big Dreamweaver stencil brushes, that's an easy way to come in with your browns and create all the different colors. And in this case, you mostly want irregular pattern, I think. You don't want it all smooth and even, but even just doing this on some dark blue paper, after I did a little bit of work with the brushes, then I came back in with my color pencils and just added a little bit more shadow to like the underside. And those are just little wiggly lines, so it can be very loose and still give a very interesting look. And in doing that, I discovered that I could use the tree going this way and position my little birds that way, or I could use it horizontally as well. So you've got lots of options, and it's quick on a blue paper. But in this case, I worked on white and then just added some other brush work. And after I finished doing my color work, then I sprinkled some chunky white embossing powder and sprinkled it. I took a little brush to move it around so that it just kind of sits on the top of the branches. Hold it with a clip tool and heat from underneath, and there you have a beautiful result for the snowy look. And if you sprinkle a bit more of it in the background, that's going to look like the snow falling as well as loading up on the branches. And again, depending which way you want the trees to go, that's where you position your snow. Here's a couple more variations that you can see. A soft sort of winter look is an option, and by repositioning the stencil the second time and just changing the angle of it, I could create another tree kind of faded out in the background. And on this one, I did a springy tree with lots more color, and it all works beautifully. On this one, I was playing around with just doing some straight tree trunks, and I sketched some little sketchy branches here and there, and that gave me another fun look. And with this one, I used the little berries that are in the stamp package, and after I added and stamped and did all of this color work, then I added some of the Dreamweaver paste and some glitter on top of that, and you can let that air dry, and then you have a really fun three-dimensional effect of snow. Here in the middle you can see some very contemporary fun cards using printed papers, and you've got all of the little holly pieces which make it easy to stack them up and create a three-dimensional look with a lot of quick timing, since you have all the dies to cut them out. I had some more fun with this technique as well, and on each of these I used some double-sided adhesive or the sticker sheets and cut out a panel the size of what I wanted, and it might just be a strip or the little square area. And so when you remove one area is put down on a sturdy paper, and then when you peel away that liner, first position your birds or your holly, and once those shapes are in place, all the rest of it gets filled in with whatever glitter mix or shaved ice or any of the embossing powders. This one is all from the encrusted red jewel set. And with this one, I heated it because it had embossing powder included in the mix, and it gives a very rich background that's very dynamic and sparkly. So there's lots of fun ideas with the winter tweets.